Yes, welcome to the Inside Out Podcast. I'm your host, Linton Felix, and we're here with my co-host, Michael Almond.
What is going on, my
What's
brother? How you
going
doing?
on, man? And our special guest for the day, the one, the only, the indomitable,
Oh yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
effervescent
Oh yeah.
Aatara Johnson, aka Aatara, aka the hostess of the Tarascope Podcast.
Hey,
Everybody, give
hey,
it up.
hey.
Oh, how you doing? We give an applause.
Woo!
Oh
I think
Girl,
that's
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? All right, that was the last one. That's the last one. I just want to thank you for joining us this day. We're missing someone. Oh, we've lost Lango. Hopefully he'll join in. But let's go forward and we'll introduce Ms. Aatara Johnson. As I previously said, she is the producer and host of the Tarascope Podcast, available on Google Podcasts, iTunes, and all where your favorite podcasts are available. But she says the podcast is a take for the dating millennial.
Mhm.
Am I saying it correctly?
Yes, for the most part, yes.
Okay, so now that I have said what I have said wrongly, I'm going to give you the option and the floor to explain what the Tarascope Podcast is to our listening audience.
Got you. So the Tarascope Podcast is a dating and relationship podcast for millennials, but mainly Black millennials. So that's kind of more my niche, my demographic. That's who I can speak for, because that's who I am. So that's who I market to and speak for and to overall when I have guests. So
okay, that's pretty dope. So can you just give us a quick background of what led you to start the podcast and what seminal moment? Ooh, you're lighting.
I know I kicked the outlet.
No, I'm sorry. Plug walk. But what led you to start the Tarascope Podcast?
And it was starting Tarascope was so random. So I was about to graduate from our institute, and I just started listening to podcasts overall. Just trying to people like, oh, you should listen to podcasts instead of listening to music in your downtime. Just try it out. And so I started listening to a few different podcasts. And the ones I initially was going to find marketing podcasts and fashion podcasts to give me some insight on how to get into the industry and figure my life out. But the ones I really resonated with were always relationship and love podcasts.
Yep.
And one was on NPR and another, which is some random one I found. But I just felt like there was a void and no one was really speaking to me or speaking for the kind of people I'm dating and stuff. It was just either a super mature audience or a super white audience. I'm just like, this is I'm getting kind of what I want, but it's still I'm missing some pieces of the puzzle to kind of really help get more insight and or even laughter or relatability sometimes. And so I was like, well, I feel like I can do this, but I didn't want to be the host. I just kind of wanted to come up with the idea and help coach someone through it. But as I kept,
what led you to becoming the host? Since your intent wasn't to be the star.
No one could speak and push the brand like I can.
Oh, okay.
So that led me to be like, oh, I guess I gotta put myself
begrudgingly. I'll just do it.
You said what?
Begrudgingly. Oh, darn it. I can't.
I'm really a background kind of girl, backstage, behind the scenes kind of person. So trying to put myself out there and doing photo shoots and speaking in front of people, that was outside my comfort zone.
Yep.
I don't mind speaking to my friends or when I'm in person with someone, but an audience or whatever, that frightens me. And then my voice starts shaking. I'm like, oh my God, it's anxiety. So I was able to face a lot of those fears while I was doing this. I was able to kind of just, talk on things and get more comfortable with my confidence when it comes to that. So it kind of worked out, but that's how I ended up being the host of the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I remember when the podcast first launched, I was just perusing Facebook and Instagram, and I noticed that you had a launch party.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm going to tell you what I felt. When I first saw it, I was like, my God, Tara is on some next level stuff. She had a launch party. I'm like, yo, that is amazing marketing. What led you to that?
So I had a PR agent. So, and I thought, that sounds so fancy.
Micah, I was just setting. I just wanted to get to that.
So I did hire someone to do some of my copy for my website, and she was kind of over like some of the marketing ideas. And so it was her idea to kind of do a launch party. Okay. And I loved it. You know, I'm a little, I don't want to say bougie, but I like kind of like the finer things and like mixing, mingle, and interaction. So I'm like, this would be a really great time for me to just dress up and, you know, like show myself and stunt. So it did bring some hype around it. People thought, oh, wow, you know, I guess most of the time when you have a podcast, it's not like a launch, like not in person launch. So I know that was different, but no, that was her idea. And so I can't take credit for that at all.
Okay. So you hired a PR firm, and what was the reasoning behind the PR firm? Since you were just starting out, did you just say, "Hey, this is the best way," or was it just something that you just happened upon?
So when I was in school, I interned for a PR agency, and so another one of the interns, like that was more so her true passion, and so she started her own. You know, after the internship ended, she started her own copywriting and like PR. And, you know, she's roughly around the same age. And so I think initially I reached out to her to write copy for my website. And she did such an impeccable job. Like the voice was my voice. I was like, I felt like I wrote this. Like I was like, how'd you get in my head and just know like these are the words I couldn't like formulate? And so I think she did some other work for me. And then I just was like, hey, how can I get you more involved? Because I need this help consistently. I need someone's going to help me stay on track, you know? So we would meet up monthly. She was like, oh, you know, here's a checklist. You got to do this. Your social media presence is low. You have to. And so it just, for me, knowing that I was still working, knowing I didn't have the time to do everything and come up with all the ideas, having someone to bounce that with and talk to and keep me in track really, really helped me.
And there's a website.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can imagine like this was during you were still in school, right?
I just finished. So I was working full time and I would get off and I would go home and work on this almost every single night.
Grinding.
Yo,
this is
a real good website. Yeah. Because
that's something.
I just wanted people to see the professionalism that you put into it. This is pretty dope. Like, honestly.
So Corey did that. No, Corey's on your show a couple weeks ago. So he really helped out he did the logo. He did the media kit. I was kind of designing. I would like, yo, can you look at the website? Let me think, you know, what do you think? I couldn't afford to hire him for the website. You know, my budget wasn't that far. So I
you had traveling
his opinion on it. But yeah.
Yeah, this is a really dope website. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that out there, like that it was a dope website.
So dope.
Yeah. But okay, so now that we've gotten the website and we got into public relations, when your first episodes, what was your intent? Like when you started the podcast, like did you go into it and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna wing it," or did you have a mission? This is my intent from podcast 1 to where are we at, number 40.
Something.
Yeah,
I had there was no real structure. I just really winged it. I read articles. At that time, it wasn't too much, not like, you know, I think I started really like 2017 when I was doing most of this research and trying to figure out. And so it wasn't what it is today when you can it's a lot more information out there on how to set it up and do this. And when I was researching, it was kind of limited. And then trying to look at these formats and then create the format that fits me and like this blackness and whatever. It was just really hard to try to figure that out. So a lot of the stuff I really did wing. I'm not into tech, so I was like, I don't really know how to edit. It was a whole bunch of like, I don't really know what I'm doing. But my friend says, you know, nothing is better than, you know, something's better than nothing. Done is better than perfect. And so I kind of adopted that mentality when I started, just because if I could be, I would be a perfectionist. I wouldn't. There's some things about that website I still like, ooh, it's cringes because I know to me it bothers me, but to someone else, it's like, oh, it's perfect. It's like, oh, well, that one little thing in the corner I don't really like, and no one really cares. And so I have to learn that, and I just go from there.
I think that's that art student in you. Like every little detail is just important. It
has to be perfect, and if it's not, it's like, oh, why put it out there?
That's dope. Before I go any further, I want to welcome to the podcast my man Lango Payne, aka DC the Misfit, to join the podcast. The first time, just for all the viewers and listeners, my camera, what are you doing to me? But we had a little technical difficulty at the top of the show, so I apologize for that. I think my streaming site, they had some issue with Twitter, kind of dropped the stream, and so we had to redo it. So we apologize for the lateness and maybe some technical glitches that may have affected some of your viewing pleasures and whatnot. So with that, we're gonna switch to this, Tara.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk relationship with you because I was really like when I first saw your podcast, I was like, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna fall back because I'm a little older, but I wanted to talk to you about your view as a millennial. You know, some of the things. So before we go, we set a baseline. So we all can agree. A millennial is described as, from my research,
Okay.
someone born between 1982 to 2004. That's what some websites are saying. Some were saying 78 to 98. Some were saying 2000 to 2004. What is a millennial to you? What is the range? Because a lot of people say I'm millennial, but what is the exact range that you guys want to work with for this conversation?
For this conversation, that's tricky.
Let's agree on something before we move forward. I say 2000 to 2000 to what is it? Yeah, from like 2000 to 2021, I guess.
I could agree with that.
Or
Wait, then what?
no, 1980.
What
Excuse me,
age?
1980
When you were born, or when were you like?
Well, because they said anyone born between 80 and 2000, you would be either in your 20s or your 30s now, 30s, 40s. So those are considered millennials.
Well, that is kind of correct. So I guess for me, when I'm more so, if I'm doing more so like demographic stuff, I don't really look at the 1980s. For me, it's more so 1980, 88, 89 starting point.
Well, that's for you, but according to the out there, let's say some of the experts out there, what was it, 1990? Okay, so we'll do.
Well, no, because 1990, that's too that's
90 plus.
too much. I feel
But
like
so let's go some 1980 to 2000. 2000? That's
2000.
That's a 20
You
year.
said 2004 on the article.
2004 is
82 to
young.
2004. So
That's young. That's craziness.
no, that's not young because anybody who was born in 1980 would be like 40 years old now.
They're like 17. Between like if they were born in 2004, there's like that. That's not what I'm talking. They're in high school.
But they're still considered millennials.
I get that, but that's not.
So we're talking about dating age millennials. Let's put
dating.
All right, so let's say 1990 to 2000.
Yeah.
Let's work with that range.
Yeah.
So in that, who can do the math? So in that range from 1990 to 2000, anybody in that age would be in their 30s now. On the high end, it'd be
31.
31. The low end, it would be 21, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That works. I like that.
So let's work with that. So we've agreed on that. 1990 to 2000, period.
Okay.
So as you guys being millennials, Tara, Lango, do you fall in that as well?
I'm considered like an old millennial.
Yeah, when are you born?
I'm like on the 84, so it'd be on the.
That's like my sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he'd still fall into the older
Yeah.
millennial category. I'm a Generation X because I was born in 76. 76.
I'm sorry, we didn't get that.
1970. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 76. I was born in 76. Right?
Okay.
So that makes
my
me-
brother age then.
Yeah. We don't put it like that. So I'm a Generation X.
Okay.
I'm a Generation X. You guys are millennials. Lango and the older millennial. You and Mike are kind of in the
Right in the best.
Right.
Whatever.
That's the best right here.
The best of the best.
All right. So
Of course.
Y'all got
in
it,
my
y'all got it.
generation, dating was something. It was a sport, so to speak. Like you had to do it, not in the sense of like it's a competition, meaning you have to be an active participant in it. Like so, in order for me to meet someone, we just started getting the Black Planets and the Facebooks and all that stuff towards the end.
Gotcha.
So we were basically built on, getting to know people, getting out there, a lot of going out, concerts, club nights, all this stuff. So we grew up in that atmosphere, and we also grew up in an era where marriage started not being seen as a necessity right away, right? We also grew up where our parents, a lot of divorce started happening more than the generations before, because during my research, they said for the baby boomers generation, there was a 90% marriage. So like 90% of baby boomers got married. Then I think with Generation X moving forward, it fell to about 70% of Generation X started moving forward. I say all that to say, as Generation Millennial, what are your views on marriage? Because they say a lot of your dating issues, as you may bring up, are due to the fact that the change in the view of marriage, therefore dating and all that stuff becomes something totally different. In my generation, you dated to find your wife, your husband, your spouse.
Mhm.
In your generation, you date for, and
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there.
Got you. So what's super funny when you ask me
Mhm.
like about the differences between your generation and our generation, that's like the first thing I wrote down, which is marriage. Because I feel like that is a big difference.
Mhm.
This generation, just from conversations of people I meet, obviously everyone is different. Most people I meet, marriage is like, oh, I'm more so looking for a partnership. Like, we don't have to put a title on it. Like, we're kicking, it's like you're moving away from titles. Like, no one wants to be labeled anymore. So it's just like, we know what we are, and that's what's important. And it's like, no. Like, they're both important. I know what we are, and I need the world to also understand this label of what we are. So I do feel like people just kind of look at it as a partnership, and we can ride this out for 5-6 years without a man feeling the need to propose. I feel like that, I don't call it that pressure, but that need for a man to propose isn't really there. And it can cause issues because most females still want to be married.
Okay.
That's important to us.
But what do you think, and then Lango, Mike, could jump in. What do you think kind of, what's attributed to that change in mindset? Because mind you,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, like what do you guys think attributed to that? Because I have some thoughts, but I wanted to hear what you guys on it. Aatara said, they don't want to put a label on things, but makes you have that mindset from the beginning? What are the root causes, do you think?
So you're talking about basically a change in why people want to get married?
Yeah.
Um,
Because she says, people can go a good 6 years before a man even has to think about putting a title of marriage or whatnot. Now, I know in my generation, once you got past 2 years,
the
question is like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What is the point of this? But I wanted to know what do you think led to this change in mindset?
I think we're going to have two different answers because we are in two different age groups. Because for me, every time I date, it's like immediately, young ladies, they want to know immediately, where is this going? After maybe 3 dates, it's just like, are we going to do the dating thing, or is this going somewhere?
Okay.
And I'm like, so I can't answer that question for Aatara because for me, it's totally different. There's still
and that's the thing. That's interesting because there is, even though they're millennials,
they want labels. Like
there's men and women, so it's not the same. I would say for every millennial being, but maybe the female millennials have a characteristic as this, and the male millennials are thinking like this.
Yeah, because from what I'm speaking from my experience, the young ladies they want labels. They want to be labeled. They want to. If they don't get that label, it seems like they feel like they're wasting time. So they're like, no, we're not going to just do this dating thing, and we're not going to just shack up and do this and do that. I need to know, what are we? And from my experience, it's like the older you get, the crazier the dating game gets, because women are not playing. Like there's none of that. You could sit around for 3-4 years and just be quote unquote dating, and oh, you got a little label as a girlfriend. Oh no, it's like after a couple of months to a year, they're like, what are we doing? Like, is this going to be marriage, or let me know right now because I can leave. Like, you're not going to waste my time. Now, Aatara and Micah, I believe y'all around early 30s, right? 30, 29. So it may be a little different for you guys, but my experiences has always been like label. I need to, I'm not introducing you to my parents until I get this label or this certain label. So that's why I was glad that I could be on the episode today, because dating to me is just like it's like an enigma. It's really weird right now. It's in a strange place, and I just really wanted to see from a lady's perspective how.
So what's say you, Tara?
So
right there.
I do like your point of view. So, and I agree, but I feel like it's always the woman who's looking for the label. That's why I feel like at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You start selling just for like, okay, I know we're monogamous. Like, and I'm okay with that because you're not really getting it from the man of like, you are my woman. This is what we're building. I feel like most of the conversation comes from the woman end of like, hey, this is my standard. Are you going to meet this requirement? If not, we're not talking. So then that pressure comes with it. But I don't feel like it's ever the man who's really sets that precedence of, hey, I want this kind of relationship and I want X, Y, and Z. And if you're not with that, then we can't talk. So the woman's always, I feel like, asking for the label, asking for that validation of like, am I wasting my time or not? And the man is a lot more laid back and chill with it. Like, oh, and that's where I think that shift and that disconnect comes from. And that's where you feel, I guess sometimes men feel pressured for marriage. It's just like, if I don't quote unquote pressure you, then what are you going to do? Because you're not really taking from our past. It doesn't seem like a lot of men are really stepping up to that plate without quote unquote pressure. So I do agree with you when women are saying like, hey, this is what I want. We at that 2-year mark. What are we doing? Like, I want kids in another 3 years. Like, is that leading to that? Do you want that? If not, let's wrap this up. Let me move on and find someone who wants the same things as me.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So we kind of agree on that, but I'm thinking, okay, with a lot of millennials today, I have issues with the guys, commitment. Excuse me. I have a career. I want to do these things, and he doesn't want to do these things, right? So, do you think it has anything to do with? Okay, I knew when I was growing up, there were a lot of single parents, a lot of kids. Okay, my mom and dad, they had me when they were together, never was married, and now they're separated. So they always grew up having separate families, so to speak. So dad was here, mom was there. So when you said you had 2 parents in the household, everybody looked at you, even though it's a stereotype I don't really believe in, but they'd be like, oh, you had 2 parents in the house? But now I'm thinking that has an effect, because now if I was the Generation X and I had a younger brother, and I do, and he's on on Lango's side of the millennial structure, we had 2 parents in the household, but a lot of our friends had single mom, single dad, whatever. Do you think now that the fact that growing up as the younger person seeing this kind of leads into this avoidance of commitment on the millennial end, especially as you guys are so connected nowadays with social media, the internet, but yet it seemed to be a big disparity in your dating structure? So you're thinking people who be so connected would be easier for them to commit. What do you think about that?
Are you asking me in particular, or like Micah? Or
yeah, whoever wants to jump in.
Micah,
go ahead, Micah.
Well, I was gonna say, to add on to what Lynn was saying, I was raised personally in a 2-person home, and a lot of times when I'm dating, they are like, "Oh, you got 2 parents," and that's, what's the word I'm looking for? That's not the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that also, contributes to, the issues sometimes in some aspects today of dating, I feel personally. But yeah.
Go ahead, Tara.
I do feel like and I feel like everyone knows this, especially after a certain age, your childhood has a lot to do with your views in how you date, even if you're conscious of it or not.
Yeah.
So I know for me, seeing my mom raise 4 girls on her own without the help of my father, for real, makes me like, okay, well, I don't want I don't want to bring kids into this world until X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't want this. You start viewing things in a different light when you grow up in a two-parent, when you don't grow up in a two-parent household, when you don't have both parents in the same home, or, other people, families. Like, I have a half brother that most people don't even know about. Like, I stuff, I'm like, oh, my brother. I'm like, your brother. I'm like, oh, I first met him when I was 25, and da-da-da. Like, wait, what? How?
Okay.
So not only were we in two different homes, we didn't even grow up knowing each other. So when you also have that dynamic of, my father wasn't around, I have a brother or sister or someone over here that I don't really know, I'm not close with, that idea of family isn't taught and nurtured. You don't grow that idea of what a family looks like. So if you don't really know what that looks like, how do you really want it?
Right.
And that comes with it. So
that's one of my things with millennials. It's like, I see a lot of people say they have problems with dating. And from what you just said, that would lead to you saying, I don't want to bring a child. And from your statement, this is kind of the mindset I feel you guys have is, I don't know what a family structure looks like. I don't want to bring a child into this world without that structure. Therefore, I'm looking for the perfect mate. You got to hit these lines. You got to hit these numbers. You got to fit this criteria. And the guys are doing it too. I think it's on both sides of the road. Like, the women have this thing and the men are looking for this at this age. But whereas in our generations, a little older, you kind of went with love. See what I'm saying? It's like, if you love somebody, and that kind of led to the problems of you picked the wrong person to love or whatnot. But a lot of times we went with love, so we gave love a chance. Whereas you guys are looking for love to be perfect in your face. Like, this person is going to love me.
It's almost a business decision. Right. Not to cut you off. That's what it just seems like. Everybody's like, okay, I'm not going to move forward with this unless this happens.
It's very transactional. It is. It's very transactional.
Yeah. What's that, Lango?
No, I think that's one of the biggest parts of the problem is everyone has this imaginary checklist, but they're not being realistic with themselves. A lot of people have these checklists of stuff that either they probably don't deserve or they're not putting forth the effort to like reciprocate what they want. Like, you can't sit up here and say, oh, well, I want a girl with a job. She got to have a 6-pack. She got to do this. She got to do that. And you got a big belly and you walking around the house, working part-time. Like, sometimes these lists that people create in their head is what is keeping them single. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't have standards. You should always have standards in what you want, but just make sure you bring in that same energy. Because if you out here, you want this supermodel chick and you want her to be smart and all this, and you just sitting around, it's just like, dog, like, how can you expect that? Like, seriously, how can you expect something like that? And I mean, vice versa. The young ladies too, like, they say they want all this stuff. I think a lot of people live in their head a little too much when it comes to what they want.
Yeah.
And something could be right in their face and they're passing it up because they're looking.
But that's now that goes to my another point, because you guys have grown up so much in social media, right?
I was gonna say, I think that's I don't think people are living in their heads. They're living
but in essence, they can be, because now social media has you curating somebody out there, curating the perfect life. And you growing up as a kid, you see this guy or this girl on this social media site, they're following their IG and they're in love every day. I'm supporting my queen. She's this. She doesn't have to work. I put 10 bands on the dresser every morning. Tell her go shopping. You know what I'm saying? So now you have women out there and men who have these. They're not even realistic. It's performance art more so than anything. And people are going out there saying, I need this in my life. I saw one of your episodes was titled about a hot girl summer, right? So now people are going out there with this mentality of, I'm going to get something for me and me only. And you know what I'm saying? So it's you grew up kind of selfish, because now you're not, like Lango said, you're not allowing somebody just to be themselves and you actually see them for who they are. You're expecting something. I'm looking for a man who has this, and my king is going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, romanticizing of relationships, I think nowadays affects more, because people are unwilling to go into relationships unless they have a feeling some kind of, my heart stopped and this person is the greatest person, I'm going to go with them. And I mean, am I wrong? Am I thinking wrong? Because sometimes I talk to a lot of millennials and they're like, oh, dating is hard. But I'm like, what's hard about it? And it's like, this one ain't this one ain't that. He messed up on this. And I'm like, that's not a big deal for you to break up with a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm thinking social media and just life in general has put such a influence and negative influence on you guys' mindset when it comes to relationships that you're not giving anyone a chance beyond strike one. Can I be wrong? Can I be wrong?
I think you're right.
Uh-huh. I don't want to be right. I just want to have a conversation.
I obviously I feel like that does tie into it. Music really ties into it a lot. But I feel like it stems, I guess it's like the part where I always like go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've gotten so astray especially when it comes to dating because of music, because of, I guess, our culture that was, we listened to the music growing up. But for a man rapper to say, I do this, I do that for my woman and you should pay for her nails, you should do this, buy that weave, buy that bag, whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We keep hearing this. You grow up, you're hearing this over and over on the radio and R&B songs, whatever. Like, this is a constant theme.
Yep.
So now these female rappers, all they did kind of in a sense is like, well, I grew up listening to men saying this is what they're going to do. So now I'm saying this is what my demand, because you said you're doing it. So now I'm like, I demand it. At first it was like, oh, if it happens, it happens. I'm going to be happy and excited about it. But now after over 20 years of you saying like, this is what you're going to do for me, now it's just like, well, now do it. I'm going to hold you to that standard because you set that. And obviously I think that's where I feel like the disconnect is people don't take in their income level, and I think that's
part of it. Like,
realistic.
Right.
So if your partner or whoever you're dating is doing things within their means, so maybe they can't take you to STK, but they're taking you out somewhere, somewhere that's affordable to them.
Take you to where?
Your actions.
Take you to where?
STK.
What was that? What was that?
I mean, I don't even know the name of this. Like what is S? Is it?
No, I know what it is. I just
STK. It's just basically steak.
Oh, I knew STK. That was a form of tape deck, like the tape you use, STK. So now STK is the new hotness. It's the new
hotness. But it's just, you're gonna go and spend a good amount, I guess, ish, or like Pasha in Atlanta. Like, there's certain places you go and like at the end the man spent some money, especially if I ordered 2 drinks, we ordered appetizers. My plate was $30. Your plate was $30. Like, the man left and he spent some money. Then we may go somewhere afterwards real quick. Anywho, all I'm saying is you have to be realistic in who you're dating, what their income is, and look at their actions from there. And that's, I think, what we don't take away from some of these rap songs is, I can afford to give my girl $10,000. But what can your man afford to do for you, and what is he doing if he can't afford to do for you? And
loving you,
yeah. And so that's part of my thing too. A generation that has grown up on the internet wholly, like fully. From the time you were born, you know nothing but the internet. You guys are the first generation to do that. My generation, we happened upon the internet. It was like, oh, this is cool. We can do this and that. You guys, life has always been online. Everything, communication, whatever. So now you have this imagery constantly in your head. Like you said, you've been told since you were old enough to remember that a man's supposed to buy you a Birkin bag, give you money, blah, 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 just because you are a queen. But in the opposite of that, the young boys have been inundated with, you are the ultimate man. The woman is for you to conquer, for you to have. If you're a super Negro, like you have the money, you have the car, she's going to want you just because.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your job to take that. So now you have these two opposing views.
Mm-hmm.
The woman feeling that he's supposed to do this stuff for me, but yet I'm a queen, you got to treat me. But the young men are thinking, if I got this, this, and this, you got to give me this. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's always been. Just it may be more hyper focused in your generation, where every young man might be thinking that. I'm not sure. I don't know how we can measure that, but from what I've seen, a lot of young men I know, they say things like, I wasn't feeling her. And I'm like, why? Well, she said something stupid. Or the young lady says, oh, he was late. He didn't take this whole thing as important as I wanted him to take it. And I'm like, but did you communicate that? So now you're blowing up relationships over trivial matters is what in my mind. But that's always been going on. I just think it's hyper magnified in this generation, this millennial generation, where you guys put everything out there. So when you have a breakup, everybody knows you're single again on your profile in Instagram, on Twitter, whatever, or you're announcing you're going on a hot girl summer. So everybody knows that's code for I'm doing me. You know what I'm saying? So
What that means?
what that mean? Yeah, what is a hot girl summer? Like I've been wanting to understand.
Please tell us. Please tell us.
Break it down for us.
Mango,
please.
you know what
I would love to hear your
I
definition.
have no idea what that is, sir.
What is a
I
hot
would
girl
love to
summer?
hear.
I'm pretty sure she's going to tell us.
I don't really know what a hot girl summer is. You know,
Is there
I feel
anybody in
like
the
hot
room
girl
that might
summer,
know?
there's like a city girl summer, and they both are
Yeah.
the same thing but different things. So
See, I thought they were
I
the
just
same.
felt like city girl summer was more so.
That was a
You know what the city girls are. You know, maybe I'm going for a certain kind of man.
Okay.
One who I know who's gonna spend the bag, do this, do that. I feel more so like Megan, the hot girl summer was like I'm going out having fun. So I'm
Okay.
going out, I'm
Yeah,
twerking,
like being
I'm
single and having fun.
smoke hookah, I'm doing day parties. I'm having a good time. Like,
Okay.
I'm showing my body. I don't care. Kind of
Okay.
mentality. Versus like the city girls was a little different.
So one is more scamming, the other one's more like I'm paying for myself.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have a good time. If I end up in trouble, I might end up in some trouble.
So it's more of like an empowerment thing. It's more of an empowerment thing. It's not really okay. I just that's been bugging me for the whole summer. I didn't know if I was missing something.
Yeah, I didn't know if we needed
So
to
could
hide.
we have
or,
a hot boy summer?
or
Yeah,
what?
like, is there a hot boy summer? Like
Can
I
we
really
do
don't.
that?
I'm not out here saying like hot boys.
I don't think that's a thing.
We
I
out
hope
here.
not.
Like,
Okay.
I'm just checking.
Okay. So now that we understand like a little bit about how millennials may see the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
My question and to the whole panel is sexuality now and intimacy. Like in my generation, we had AIDS, HIV, STDs. You were told all these things, and you would, even though a lot of people still went out there raw dog and blah blah blah. A lot of us were like more, I don't want to say reckless, but we were more hesitant, more careful. In this generation, I see a lot different. Like the mentality towards sex is like, I don't know, it's reckless in my eyes. Like it's almost like STDs don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I wrong? Am I?
No, you're not
No,
wrong.
you're not wrong.
No,
It's-
you're not
Hey,
wrong
you
at
got
all.
somebody in the back who's saying something. What they say?
No, I was
Yeah.
asking her opinion. No, I was like,
Okay.
No, you're definitely right. We have people like I have friends and stuff who joke about that all the time, and you can only joke so much. Then I'm starting to look at you like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, people they joke around like they hate condoms.
Yeah, like.
But I'm like, yo, like, okay, like, are you serious? And then you start to learn some things about your friends, and you like, dog, do you not care? Like,
right. That's my thing, because I know in my generation, if somebody said they wasn't going out there, we had songs about it. The gym hat, all that stuff. Like
right.
like if as a female, like if he showed up without a condom, like that was grounds for, mistrial. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to do this over again. But now I'm hearing guys say things like, I don't like condoms, or I hear girls say, well, he doesn't like condoms, so we do the our thing, like he pull out, blah blah blah. I'm like, what? Like, where they do that at? Like, this, you still can get pregnant. Like, you can still get an STD. Like, how is in your millennial generation, the views towards sex? How is it? It's more of like a winter game X sport. Like, is it an X game sport?
If it don't kill you, it make you stronger.
Like,
it's a
is it
roll
like
of the dice.
It's like
That's what they say.
that's what guys are really, because you look at the rappers. I hate to bring the rappers up, but like we're talking about our culture. So the millennial culture, they're going to be growing up on rappers, some neo soul and all that stuff. But if you see your favorite rapper, let's go with Future.
Oh God.
How many baby mamas does he have?
Too many to count.
You got like 10 plus. You got 10 plus kids, right? So you got a few baby mamas, right? Not to just belittle him, but just using him as a case study. So now you have these guys and they're like, oh yeah, but I'm taking care of all my kids. Now you have a young generation of men thinking, I'm just going to have these kids. It's always been going on, but now it's seen almost like a badge of honor, like to have a lot of kids and then say, I take care of my kids. Like, am I wrong? Or am I?
I know I'm different in some like sense and how I grew up and whatever. I don't look at that as a badge of honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess like my immediate friend group of guys, I don't think they look at it in that same light either. So I can't speak on that. That's just, I think for me, it has the same mentality, I guess, for your generation of, oh, you crazy. Like, oh, this dog tripping. Like, he wilding out in these streets. I don't know why he doing that, but power to him. I'm not going down that path. But that's how me and my friend group look at it.
But what I'm saying is your generation, like someone like that, like someone like Future, someone like any rapper, any musician, any athlete, actress who turns around and says, and they'll be like, oh, dude got like 10 kids. But you know what I'm saying? Like Nick Cannon out there, like I've listened to his interview and he said basically, I mean, I understand his premise is like, if I choose to have a kid with someone, I'm going to make sure I can take care of them. But not everybody is Nick Cannon. Not everybody's Future. Not anybody's your favorite rapper. And even some of the rappers aren't that able to do it. Yeah, they're going to do it for the next 2-3 summers when they're hot. What happens after that? You know what I'm saying? But the idea that multiple women as you're having your kids has almost become normal. And I think I kind of blame my generation for almost like we had Tupac singing "I Get Around," and it was you know,
That's a good song, by the way.
It was a great song. It's a great song. It's a great song. But ultimately, it normalizes, you know, infidelity. But is it infidelity if you're not married?
Yes.
No, it can't be infidelity if we're not married. Who am I not fidelity to?
Oh, so are we going to just change out the word to cheating? I'm just trying to figure out like what word are we swapping out?
Are you in a relationship?
If we sit here and say we have an understanding of like, yo, we're doing this. This is how we're moving.
Mm-hmm.
And you break that verbal contract, then what do you want to call it? Like, what word do you use at that point?
I mean, but is it cheating because your generation doesn't like putting labels on things right away? We're usually when I say, hey, you and so dating, no, we just talking. You guys have said that to me before, and I was always like, what is talking? Because in my generation, talking means that's the lead up to us dating, and that means we're literally just talking. We're literally going on dates. We haven't, but once you want to get intimate and be with that person, it's full on, we're dating. You have to be with me. I have to be with you. Right. But your generation we just talking, that is I guess the new signifier of a relationship. Am I wrong, Aatara?
Well, let me ask this.
No, you go.
Let me ask this. So, Aatara, how do you think the talking stage has changed? Because it's changed from, for example, when we were in school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's changed. Everybody's definition, you know, I hear nowadays is different. So
it is
because everybody's always talking.
Perspective. What do you, or what have you heard?
Perspective.
What have you heard from?
For me, when I tell somebody, if I tell anyone I'm just talking to someone, so let's say back in those days, you're like, oh, you know, I heard you talking to, I don't know, Jay Smith, and it's like, oh no, we talking because either A, I don't want you in my business, you don't need to know all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still figuring it out. Yes, we kicking it, but I don't want you to know. So I'm like, oh no, we just talking like.
But talking while you're talking, are you actively dating? Are you actively?
Or are y'all literally just talking?
Are you literally just on the phone twirling? Well, you can't twirl the cord anymore, but are you just on speakerphone talking? Like,
so sometimes it is that. Sometimes it's a real cute way of. For me, it's a deflection. I'm trying to like phrase this right without looking like I'm crazy. But once again, I don't try to like. For me, for Aatara, most of the time I'm telling someone I'm talking, it's because for that situation, or let's say maybe I'm dating two people at the same time, trying to figure out who I like the most.
But
You
go ahead.
mean, are you talking to two
See,
people?
that's we're gonna come to that next. Go ahead.
But
Go
it's
ahead
like if we're like actively, if he's actively taking me out on dates, then we're dating. You know what I'm saying? If I go out, if I hang out with you every week or every other weekend, you're paying for a date. We're going to smoke hookah. We're going to whatever.
So that's your boyfriend
dating.
at that point.
Is that your boyfriend?
If y'all sharing hookahs, y'all together.
Then that's not dating.
But that's why I say that's why for me, I'll tell people, oh, I'm talking to this person because I don't want these faces that y'all are making, these looks that are being given right now is like the fuck. And so to make it more seamless, it's like, oh, me and so are just talking. Because I don't need y'all in my business come and get these looks of, I don't know what you got going over there, but I don't like it. It sounds weird. You probably having sex with all these people, but I'm not. If a man wants to take me out and pay for dinner and a movie or whatever, and take me to a museum or whatever, the things I like, and we're not intimate yet, then why not? I'm trying to figure out if this is worth me. If this is worth more than 2 months, if this is worth more than 1 month of my time. I'm not going to talk to you for a month and be like, oh, this is my man, because we may not make it past the 3-month marker. There's no point of me putting a label on that because now I gotta break up with you. Like, that's weird. It's like, why are we even together? Because we don't know each other yet. But we're going out on dates. We're talking. We're figuring it out.
So wait a minute. Hold on. This is
This is good.
I'm just going to give my perspective on it. With me, a talking phase is I'm talking to about 5 different people. I'm talking to you and some of everybody else. To me, talking is just a filler to get to know you, to see if I even want to waste my time taking you out. Now, once I take you out, other people that I'm talking to, they don't exist. Once I take you out, it's like you made it to the final 4. Like, it's you. I'm not talking to nobody else. I took you out, so I feel like you have potential to be my woman. Once I take you out, then after a couple of dates, I feel like, okay, I know this person, and then I'm going to pursue it after maybe a couple of dates just to see, how we interact in person, beyond the phone. And that's, maybe I'm weird. Am I weird?
I think that's really great on paper for a man. You're not the first man I've talked to who says that. But the major difference.
Nah.
Oh, she's like, nah, son. That ain't it.
That ain't it, bro.
He's like, nah, listen.
But I feel like the major difference, and we have to remember who's paying for what, right?
Well, why does it have to be on
why we keep putting money in this? And I think that's a big part of the problem.
Because this is what a man told me. This is what a guy I was dating or talking to, dating. I don't know which one it is no more. That's when I was dating him. This is what he told me. So I'm just saying what he told me. So he explained it in the sense of, because I told him, he was like, oh, you be serial dating. So I'm just like, well, why not? Like, if I'm hanging out with you today, someone else will take me out 2 days from now, like, I'm gonna go. Like, if I'm interested, I'm gonna hang out because I'm single, right? Like, this is what single people do. You meet people, you try to figure life out. Yep. But when it comes to a man, he's going to be more selective because he has to pay for all this stuff. So you're going, a smart man, not most of these men, because most of these men, they don't talk. They'll text real quick, and then they automatically they ask you out after a day. You want to hang out? You want to link? So you're different, Lango, in the sense of you're preserving your time. You're saving your in-person time. You'll get to know them on the phone with an actual conversation. Most of these
on the FaceTime
nowadays aren't doing that. You get my number, hang out at a club or whatever. You hit me up, yo, when can we link? That's automatic. So that talking stage has changed because we're not talking on the phone. But you automatically ask me out to meet in person and get to know me in person and go from there. So I think that's the major difference of we're talking to now we are dating because you invited me on a date. So I'm getting to know you on this date. And then the next date, we're getting to know each other more. The getting to know you have become more interactive in person versus being on the phone. So I am talking and dating at the same time versus what you're saying is I'm talking to you on the phone. When I feel like this is enough, then we're going to go to the date stage. Most men don't do that. So
is that today's men? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, that's exactly what I was going to ask. Is that today? Because I find that odd because I'm like Lango. Once I get your number, I'm going to call you a couple times.
Get to know you. Maybe we will get some.
You know why? Why that's important?
Go ahead.
In the past couple years, the guys I dated.
Wow.
Nobody wants to go on a date and then you figure out that you have nothing in common with this person.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that little grace period, the on the phone, FaceTime, talking phase is your time to kind of feel the person out. I'm not saying talk to this person on a phone for months. Like, that's crazy. Like, I'm just saying maybe your first couple of days, maybe a week, y'all just
get to know the person.
phone, and then the weekend comes up. You're like, hey, what you doing? You want to do this? You want to do that? Because I've been on dates like that, and I'm sitting here looking at this person like, I don't even like you like that. Like, I'm ready to go. I haven't paid for dates and left. Like, so I try to avoid that by at least getting to know the person on the phone before I ask them out. Like, I don't know. Maybe
I've been on a date with someone the same day I met him. Like, I was legit at work, met him at the mall. Later that day, we went on a date. I'm thinking from my experience, I don't talk to people on the phone.
But what happened with that?
That's them.
But what happened with that?
We dated. We were in a relationship. It did grow to that. We ended up breaking up, but did grow into a relationship.
I mean, it's exceptions to the rules. I'm not saying that, my way is the perfect way, or like, you may meet someone like you did and that spark may be there. And I mean, I'm open for that.
Your way. I think that's what I'm saying. I like your way. So I was 2 years ago, I was on a dating app. I was on
Did you swipe right or left?
Right.
I forget what
it
It was left.
You were left.
Hey, Tara, I'm with you. I'll be on it.
I forget. I'm like, which one was it? I forget. But no, so I think I was meeting guys and they were like automatically basically asking me to hang out. And then one guy, he was like, oh, can I call you? And I was like, oh my God, like people ask this? Like, what? I was like, yeah, for sure. And we talked on the phone. I was like, the smallest thing. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is so new to me.
Right. And that's the funny part. Like, I've heard women your age in the millennial category say they find dudes to be weird. When he calls and says, I want to talk to you, they're like, that's creepy.
Oh, I love it. Because
but I'm like, how else
now
you
for
know
me.
someone?
Wait, that's creepy now?
I've heard people say that's creepy. They like, let's meet up and
A
go
lot
out.
of girls don't mind the
So there's
phone
no
call.
more caking. That's what I was taught.
It's creepy. My friend said it.
I'm gonna be single forever, man. I don't know.
Why is it creepy? Why is someone wanting to know you creepy? Because I would find it creepy if I met you on Thursday and Thursday night we're on a date.
Right.
To me, that's weird.
I mean, we're not calling you a creep.
You know what I'm saying?
You're a stranger.
Because here's the thing.
Like,
Here's the thing. Usually, like Lango said, before you venture to figure if it was a monetary thing. I got to pay for dinner. Like, I'm not paying for, like, blind dates is what you do that for. You meet someone, you find out about them. Let's have a blind date because we don't know each other. But if you meet somebody and they give you your phone number, that's why I asked for the phone number. So we can talk to see if we're compatible.
I feel like everything is instant now, like Instagram. Like everything is very microwavable. So like you're on this. I guess a lot of people look at like, I don't want to waste my time. They have this I ain't trying to waste my time mentality, or let me move on to the next thing. If it's whatever, they're just moving super quick in the world. Don't really
your millennial generation is seen as the microwave generation. You guys are the microwave generation.
I don't know, but Micah and like I love it. Like if that's how y'all approach dating, like I wouldn't change it, because it's for women like me. It really opens your eyes. Like, oh, there's still, I guess, regular men out there who really want to. Because I look at it like you really want to get to know me outside of like you're taking me out on a date to pay for this date, hoping that you're gonna have sex. That's what I think. That's when people. When a man really like, yo, I want to talk to you on the phone. Whatever. We do that a couple of times, and you're like, yo, based off of that, I kind of know the things that you like. I plan to date you. It makes it more special, but you don't get that. For me, when I was dating, the apps and whatever, I didn't get a lot of that. Like that was rare.
Right, because dating is more of a precursor to sex. So it's like if I meet you, I'm trying to take you out to dinner to impress you, and that's why I say, young women, you've grown up with this. Hey, he's supposed to take me out to STK, BK, and all that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
God, BK, that's Burger King.
You got cheese,
yeah, that's Burger King, man.
I know.
Come on, man.
That's
you take over the Burger King, man.
You don't need to be dating if that's a date.
Also, now is she too good for a Burger King sandwich?
But I'm just saying, that Burger King.
No, okay, McDonald's.
Chick-fil-A.
Okay, you can do Chick-fil-A. You can get
play off Chick-fil-A
sauces. But like I was saying,
you can get away with Chick-fil-A. But go ahead.
Yeah, you get with that. But I was saying, like, now that you've grown up, okay, he takes me out of the date. I'm being impressed. But the guy, he's like, if I take you out on a date and I just met you and I'm gonna spend $200-$300 on you, he's been conditioned like, hey, if I put this money out here, if I make it rain,
And
something.
It's just weird. I look at that stuff and I'm like, I see a paycheck. I look at it in the sense of how long can I play this game without having sex with you to get more what I want?
See,
there we go. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that.
I don't know.
So then again, like we've been saying, you're not technically dating for relationship.
It depends.
It's a business.
No, because it depends when you say like the guy.
I'm interacting with people. I know it just kind of sets people apart. Like everyone writes themselves off at some point. People hang themselves. So if I met you and I think you're attractive, I'm like, okay, this is real. Okay, I like this. And then you do whatever you're doing, trying to impress me by your money and your financial status.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. That's the kind of individual you are. Let's see where I can get. Let's see how far this will go without me putting out. And for me, I start playing the game because you played the game. You started this bullshit first, so I'm gonna play you, and I'm gonna steal love somewhere else.
Because that's how the rules are. If I get your number, I ask you out because you guys say talking on the phone, like your friend in the back said, that's weird.
She said it depends.
No, it doesn't depend. It has to be all the time. It can't be. You can't say this guy I'm going to talk on the phone to, but this guy I'm going to go on a date automatically with because he took my number. Usually when we took your number, it's and I grew up with the corded phone. If we had the antenna on the cordless, that's when you had a little money, you know what I'm saying? So you could lay on the bed and be like, hey, can I speak to Denise? Yeah, this is Wednesday. This cracking. Yeah, and then we get to know each other until we talk maybe, even if I get your number on a Saturday, right? I'll talk to you throughout the week and we're making plans like if this goes right, Friday we're going to go out so we can get to know each other more because we've gone through the preliminary. So now when I take you out Friday, we've had some sort of rapport. So now when we're face to face, we can see if we have a connection. But the millennial generation, as it seems that, I get your number. We're going out to dinner. We're going to hookah.
We don't have to. My thing is, I tell guys, and I love dates. So I'm not.
So you're
my message to men. Let's make this very clear. My message to whoever's listening is not don't take that woman out on a date if you want to take her out, but you can also plan a very cost-effective date or a date that you can plan a date that you want. You don't have to plan a date that you think is going to impress me. So you don't have to take me to whatever expensive restaurant that's expensive for you or whatever realm you are in. I've been on dates where I think one of my first dates with this one guy was really cool. He picked me up. We went to the gas station, bought some lime margaritas. This is my college days. And we walked, we did a little hike, and we ended at a waterfall. That was a dope ass date.
That's a dope
date. It didn't cost no money, but we still got to know each other outside of on the phone. So I'm not telling men, go spend $100 on a date, do X, Y, and Z, and show out and impress.
But that's what the city girls said he has to do. The hot girls and the city girls.
If you're looking for a city girl, then that's what you're gonna get. If you're approaching a situation. And I feel like men have to be aware of the situation and aware of the world we're in. If you approach a woman and I get any whiff of you a fuck nigga or you with that shit and you gonna spend the bag, then I'm gonna use you for that because that's the energy you're giving. And that's the same thing y'all say about women all the time. If a woman approaches you and you think the energy she's giving is sluttish and hoish, that's most of the time how men's gonna treat her. So it's the same way. If a man look like he's willing to blow a bag and he's gonna pay for the hookah for me and my friends and pay for our way in, do it. Why would I stop you? That's all you have to offer. But if I meet a man who offers something different, his approach is different, then I'm different. How I interact with everyone is gonna be based off how you approached me. If you approach with that fuck shit, you're gonna get played. If you approach me and you're different, it's like, okay, cool. This is the kind of energy that you're on, and let me interact and let me act accordingly. But that's just my view.
But I guess you can say if a dude is just throwing money out there and he's I'm gonna
take it. Like, who gonna pass it up?
But what if he genuinely likes you and says, "Hey, Atara's out here with her girls. I'm gonna be the nice guy and let Atara know, hey, I like you. Yeah,
And
you and your friend want to smoke hookah, and then you automatically see that.
The energy is different. The energy is different. Between
So it's an energy thing.
It is. It's
okay.
You can tell how they. You can tell. For
Okay,
not all the time, but most part you can tell.
I just wanted clarity because I didn't want you to say that, and then dudes were like, "Yo, I really liked Aatara," and that time I took her to the hookah and I bought it for she and her homegirls. That's why she didn't call me back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, serial dater.
You can read people. You know, okay. When you start reading people, you know, at 20, whatever I am, I've been doing this enough to be like, okay, this is
you're a veteran now. You the extension, Micah. She signed an extension. She got off the rookie contract.
Yeah,
she signed a rookie max extension out here.
Max deal. I've been doing this.
Okay, man. But like what you said, like you said, the dude's blowing all this money, but these dudes have been conditioned like this is what you need to do because you won't get a chance from this girl because, like you said, nobody talks prior to this. So he's coming out like I'm going to show her what I'm about so she can choose me. But you guys say depending on the energy, he wouldn't get drafted in the first round. You know what I'm saying? He might be a second round pick, but most likely you're just going to put him on the practice squad. Like when you want to practice dating, you call this dude and you get a free meal out of it. You get your girl some hookah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe some
free meal.
Yeah, free meal.
You have a dude name saved to that in your phone? You can say it.
Second round draft pick.
No, I've never been. I am so transparent when I'm dating. Like I am too honest. I am like rare. I don't play games.
Okay, so you don't ghost people?
I tell you, like, yo, I'm dating. I'm dating.
Tell the guy straight
like, up. When I make my mind up, I'll let you know.
I respect that. You would tell the guy straight up if this wasn't it.
Okay. So the next thing the next point I want to get to, now that we've gotten to this whole point of how you guys approach dating. So we've discussed that there is no discovery process. No lawyers. There's no discovery. We just go straight to trial, and that's where we figure everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your generation is like that. So the next step I want to get to is the way you treat the relationships when they end, because that has a lot to do with how you approach them. So ghosting is the new thing, right?
Where the new lick, that's what they say.
Is the new what?
The new lick, that's what they say.
Yeah,
it's the new like play.
Ghosting is something like in my day, if you just cut off communications with a woman, like a lot of people would be like, "Yo, you foul for that." Like, just tell her you don't want to mess with her no more. But in this generation, because of the technology that you guys have grown up with, a lot of times you meet each other online and you make text, boom, boom. So the relationship started off, to me, almost superficial, right? Because you didn't really talk. You were just texting. It was superficial language. You didn't see any emotion. You didn't hear each other on the phone, like how you actually sound, except for just call me when you get to the restaurant. I'll tell you where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's about it. So you guys text a lot in this generation, right? This is something that millennials are, that is a stereotype, or no, it's a fact. You guys do a lot of social media, DMing, texting. So when it's time to end a relationship, it's easy for you guys to just say, nah, and just walk away, like with no communication, no nothing. So in turn, to me, that lends to how the relationship would have gone, period. Like if it's all superficial, that could be thrown away at any moment, how do you form lasting relationships?
You don't.
If it's all superficial.
I think that's something I haven't figured out yet. That's why I'm still single. I don't know what to tell you on that one.
Knowledge.
Repeat the question. Repeat.
Okay, so here's I'm
gonna
make it for the hot girls out there. Not city girls, hot girls. Hot girls got college degrees.
Yeah, we know the difference. We know the difference.
We know the difference now. We're educated.
I'm just saying, ghosting is something, a trend that's, prominent within the millennial culture, right? In my day, if you just disappeared on a woman, that was almost looked upon like, bro, that's foul. Like, at least tell her y'all ain't dating no more, or you're not interested. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Usually a guy be like, yo, why she didn't just tell me? Like, I liked her, I'm calling her, and next thing you know, she's like, he's stalking me. Just tell me you don't like me. But in your generation, you go out on a date with a dude, you meet him Thursday, you say, hey, let's link up Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't like him over the date. And instead of saying, I'm not really feeling you, because you didn't have the discovery, now the discovery is at the dinner phase. When usually at the dinner phase, that's when you're kind of solidifying if we're going to go any further. What kind of relationship is this going to be if will be one? But now you guys are just like, I really like him, and that's it. Like I'm sure you've done that before. I know Micah probably done it. Lango probably done. I've never done that.
No,
So it's like I feel.
No, y'all ain't never done it, Micah.
I tell him what I promise you. I tell him.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Lango, you ain't never ever.
No, I've been like, yo, this ain't working. It's not
Lango the
hard.
type who wanted. He looked like.
But that's something I had to learn over time, though.
Yeah.
It is.
The only reason I'm like that because I don't
thing to
I don't want people to do that to me.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with telling somebody like, yo, I really wasn't feeling it. Like, and
I adapted it was done to me, so I'm gonna do it to somebody else.
Cool.
I'm gonna just like, well, someone played me, so someone didn't give me the respect and the decency to tell me they ain't want to deal with me no more. So, and I got over it. So will you. I guess that was the mentality I had.
But that in turn leads me to your point. Dating in the millennial culture, if it's so Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, where you're like, how can you
man for yourself?
Yeah, how can you find a lasting relationship now going forward?
It's hard. You have to meet someone who's on the same page, and it's extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult to meet someone who has moved past the games and have matured past their nonsense and realized the mistake in their old ways and is ready to effectively communicate. Mm-hmm. It's hard. I'm not going to act like it's an easy task to meet someone that's like-minded as you, but it is possible. And that's why I feel like I always tell people, like, keep hope alive. Keep hope that love is out there. It is.
But, okay, so now
I'm a hopeless romantic. So maybe that's, maybe a little bit of that too. But I feel like
you're a hopeless romantic and a cutthroat millennial. Like,
I'm not cutthroat no more.
Not anymore, but still.
I think Atara's just aware of the temperature out here, and she just acts accordingly, But at the same time, she wouldn't mind, being in love, romantic. You know what I'm saying? But you still gotta, a survival. And I'm just speaking from a millennial standpoint, but that's just what it's
play it or be played out here sometimes.
For sure.
But
and you ain't about to play. And I think that's where everyone's looking like, you ain't about to play me. You ain't about to pump me. You ain't about to. You're not gonna tell your homies, your friends that, oh man, yeah, that girl, she just would. We not like, it's so no nonsense. And I feel like if everyone kind of just relaxed and let their guards down and opened up and became a little softer, then it would be a lot easier. But this is a real dog eat dog world. Like, if I find a good man, someone else with the same good man, like, it's just hard. It's just not the same no more.
It's not, but at the same time, it's how it's always been, because my whole point is that even though you're millennials and you have these issues, your issues are compounded based on the society we live in. But a lot of the things you're going through, we all went through. It's just, it wasn't as heightened because everybody didn't know your business. In this social media era, when someone's going on a date, when someone's dating someone. Even if you don't know, you can tell by their social media posts when the girls say, like, hey, I'm doing me now, blah, blah, blah. Or the fellas say, hey, man, you got to concentrate on yourself, king. You know what I mean? Like,
the future me.
You realize, hey,
they post their future me. You know what it means.
You know that they just went through a breakup or something happened in a relationship. Whereas in my generation, we could keep it silent because nobody really knew. You broke up with somebody unless somebody was in the room with you while you were talking. Sure. But now that most of the world knows your relationship status, I think it kind of lends to the way you approach relationships. Like, if everybody's going to see this, because I'm going to put it on Instagram because you guys have been conditioned for that. Like, it's not a real relationship if people don't see it on Instagram or see it on TikTok or whatever. Like, am I wrong?
I think everybody think they're in a reality TV show.
Thank you, Lango. Thank you.
Everybody feel like their life is important and they don't care, and really nobody cares.
Like, everyone cares. That's a lie. Everyone cares.
Everyone cares if they care about you.
Everyone cares.
If they care about
you. If everyone didn't care, then everyone would not be on Instagram. Like, that's not.
No. Everyone's on Instagram because they want to curate the best life possible to make themselves look interesting.
Yeah, but people buy into that. Like, how is it that people care because YouTube bloggers are now a thing? Like, YouTubers are a thing because I cared enough to sit at home doing nothing, looking for love, watching you and your love. Like, damn, people care.
I blame my generation for that because we are the ones who put that out there with the real worlds and all that. That stuff, we had the dating game and all that, but it was like a game show. But it was about finding love. My generation, reality TV caused you to now you can create your own new you. So now that someone's online, they may be a dirtbag, but online they're the greatest guy ever. He's gonna like, Queen, I'm gonna rub your feet, I'm gonna give you this. But then you check behind the scenes, he's got 8 kids with 3 different baby mamas, and you're like, yo, the math don't even add up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like social media has changed your views altogether. So now dating is not just about finding love. It's about finding the proper man or woman that you can post on Instagram and say that you're married to. Like, to me, that's how it feels like. Maybe I'm just being sarcastic, old dude, or get off my lawn. But it's like, a lot of times I see people, they only show someone when they're like, oh, she's the one, blah, blah, blah. Like, she does this, does that. Like, sometimes you just need to keep it for yourself. Let the relationship grow before you put them on there. Like, I see your generation, once they find somebody, they already saying they love them. Like, I didn't say love until we were a good 2-3 years into the game. Like,
really?
Yes.
And that's what I was raised on.
I need to go back.
That's what I was raised on. Like, you don't say that.
First of all, the only people you say are over a year. What are you talking about? Are you serious? You're telling people you love them. Love is a long-term thing.
No, it's not. Who said love is a long-term thing? Who said that? Where is that? If I Google it right now, that's not in the definition.
Love, no, I'm saying, but overall, love is a long-term thing. To love someone means it's undying. It doesn't go anywhere. If it goes away, it never was love.
It was love. I love chicken. I can stop eating chicken tomorrow. Don't mean I don't love chicken.
That means you didn't love chicken. You
I
like
love it. It just was no longer good for me.
Oh, no. Don't try to do that. Don't try to do that. Don't try to do that and switch it up talking about it ain't healthy. And no. A good piece of chicken.
That was good.
I mean, but it's facts. I was in a whole relationship with someone who was not good for me, and I loved him.
Nah, then that wasn't love.
But it was love. I loved you. Maybe you didn't love me back in the same essence, but I did love you. And because you didn't love me the same, we had to part ways because the love wasn't equal.
Tara. Love within, if you say you love someone within a year of meeting them, like that to me, like you don't really know that person to cast love on them. Like you can go, imagine you go to a school for 1 year. Oh, I love this school. And then the next year you see another school and like, oh, they got a better program over there. I don't love you no more.
But why can't you love more than one thing? Like I feel like when we live in the world, it's like, why can't love more than one thing? I can't have loved something and then moved on from that love, but still cherish that love. Bars.
Yeah, that's not love. That's infatuation.
I'm gonna look at the definition of love.
Look at the definition of love.
We ain't about to do that.
Like I'm not. Love is an emotion. It's a plane of being.
Love is if you do something I like so much, I love it. That's basically what love.
It's not.
There's a contrast between two generations.
Google said love is a noun. The first one is an intense feeling of deep affection. So I can be deeply affected by the things you do and how you make me feel. That can end at any moment. You can start doing all heap of shit I no longer like, and now because you did a whole plethora of things I don't like, I no longer love you. Because it's all based on your actions. If you consistently do things I like, I love you. If you consistently do shit I don't like, I'm going to probably fall out of love. It is all based on emotions. So I no longer feel this emotional attachment because we're changing and growing apart. People grow apart. So I can grow apart and I no longer am in love with you, but I will always love you. There are exes of mine I will always love. I don't want to be with you and I love you from afar and I wish you well, but I'm not in love with you. I feel like people act like you can't love and love and loss. Like I loved you. We parted ways. I wish you the best. 2 years later, I found someone else. I love them. I am in love with this person. That no longer means that I didn't love you. It doesn't mean I don't love the person I'm with.
You got too much love going on. That's why you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like with that much love going out in the world, how could you settle down on the real love? Like Mary J said, what is real love?
If I could break down, love is very objective because people are in polyamorous relationships and they are in love. So we can't define someone else's version of love. You can't tell someone that they didn't love someone because it confuses you.
What does Google say? an emotion. It's a
It is an intense feeling of deep affection.
okay.
Or number 2, a great interest and pleasure in something. You brought me pleasure. You no longer brought me that pleasure. Like I said, you no longer did things I like. I no longer love you because it's based on a pleasure.
Interesting.
But love is supposed to be love. We're not just talking about love. Okay, let's say love in the sense of marriage, long-term love. In order to love someone, in my opinion, you can have, like you said, I'm just saying within a year to confirm love. Like I find that's why I'm like I can't agree with. I understand what love is defined as, but to say within a year I love someone, and then the next year I'm going to not be in love with them, then that's not love.
I think it is because I've talked to married people all the time, and people have said people always say you fall in and out of love. People say that. I fell out of love in my marriage, and we had to fight to get that love back. So it is a thing. You can't talk to someone who has been married and they say no. And there was a point that I hated my partner, and we fought to get that love back. And I met people. These are conversations I have had with married couples of 5 years, whatever. And these are the things that they're saying.
And I can agree with you on that.
Yes. Out of love, but you have to fight. The fight is no longer there in millennials. And I think that is the difference.
Oh, okay.
Like you said in the beginning, you do something I no longer like. It's like, well, she walked funny. She said this, she's stupid. And people are no longer there to fight for the love and keep the flame going. But love is, you can fall in and out of that. I stand up 10 toes.
But that's what, so now you've given me an understanding that what you just said there, it's, you guys are not willing to fight for love if the person doesn't do everything right all the time. What I'm saying is my generation, love came and we was like, yo, that love is going to be there. There's going to be times where it's going to falter, but we're always going to know I love you. You know what I'm saying? So I will fight for that. Your generation, it's like I said, it's not love. It's like, okay, I love what you do this for me. So it's almost like a trade. It goes back to the whole dating.
It's like transactional.
Right. So transactional that if tomorrow the price is too high and I don't want to pay it, you're like, I don't love you anymore. Whereas my generation and previous generations, I hate making it this, but just for the argument's sake, we would be like, hey, I'm going to fight for this love. If this is what you're doing now, I'm going to meet you there because you're here right now, but I'm not going to. Your generation, Micah, Lango included, like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang, if her toes curl the wrong way, oh, I can't miss it. Right, that's why in Boomerang, everybody looked at that character like, bruh, you shallow. Like, you know what I'm saying? But your generation is the embodiment of that, is what you're saying. Like, tomorrow, if you don't do this correctly, I don't love you no more. Whereas my generation is like, if you do that, hey, let's have a conversation. Am I barking up the wrong millennial tree?
No, I feel like that. Those last few statements are actually great. I agree. I agree.
You're right.
Oh, man.
And I think those are the things that are missing. I feel like a lot, like y'all point of view. I feel like if we could have like takeaways for men who are listening is to really go back to the dating, like really, I guess, go back to the talking stage.
Right, get to know the person.
Really missing, like you said. So then we're not going on the date. This is a waste of my time. There's no reason. I don't know you. But what am I giving you? Like, what respect is like? I met you 2 days ago. We hung out. Like, I don't know you enough to respect your time because what time did we give?
You're right.
You didn't invest anything. So it's like, well, yeah, I can ghost you because
you really didn't.
What conversation? Like, we just met. So I think that's why it's so easy to ghost people because it's like, well, I met you. I just met you for real. Like, I feel like I don't owe you a conversation because we barely conversated. Like, we never talked. So I don't feel comfortable communicating to you because we never really communicated.
Right.
That's the first takeaway. And then honest communication, I feel like a lot of people don't have. People don't have those deep, hard conversations that moves a relationship forward. We run from it, we hide from it, or we have it with other people like our friends. And then we don't tell our partners. And then that's where all this chaos and whatever comes from and disconnect.
And I agree with that point greatly. I was going to get into the next point of the friendships that we have. Like, it seems like our friendships, both male and female of this generation, are more important than finding love and having a dating relationship with someone. It's almost like if my friends aren't on board with it, and it doesn't fit our program of what we set forth for each other, then I'm not going forward with it. Am I wrong? Stop looking back at your friend. You know what I mean? You're proving my point. You're proving my point. You look right back at it. You look back at it like, is he right? Do we do that?
I don't know. I need validation. I'm like,
You need validation.
But I mean,
you need validation because you're in a group think type of atmosphere, like social media, text message, text chains. I'm in text chains, and a lot of times our friends form our opinion, but a lot of times our friends' opinion can become ours, even though we may not necessarily have the same experiences. So I hear the routine and the stereotypes. All men ain't shit. Blah blah blah. You got to do this and don't worry about no man. Like, so if you never had that experience, but someone next to you has, be it a mother, an aunt, whomever, and you've heard that from the time you were old enough, let's say 10 years old, to comprehend, to now that you're 20 something, for 15, 20 years, you've heard that men are trifling. You just got to make sure you get yours and blah, blah, blah. And you take charge. You don't allow a relationship to grow because you're coming in with these preconceived notions. But my opinion, it's not any different than what happened 30 years ago. This was still going on. It's just more amplified today. No, maybe.
So Lynn, what you're saying is essentially the outside voices, or like our friends, have more of a voice than our partner at that time. I'm assuming. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And going forward, period.
I think saying the influence, as far as influencing a young lady on the guy that she's dating, like,
yeah,
I think we all do that though. We just can't put that on the women. I think
no. I'm saying it's on both sides. So
I think that outside influences play a major part in today's dating scene. You know, you've thrown jabs at your homeboy if he's dating a girl that you may consider not desirable. You know, you might be like, well, you might be, you know, you take a little jab at her, but like, that ain't it. That ain't really it. And we're influenced by it. Yeah, I'll say that honestly, we are. We'll take that into consideration, especially with guys, because we're a little harsh. I don't know how the ladies do it, but guys, we'll be like, yo, like, dude, what are you thinking? Like, nah, that ain't it.
That ain't it. Yeah, nah, that ain't it.
That ain't it.
Yeah, that ain't
that's
it.
a nice way of me saying.
I
ain't gonna let you into the whole conversation. But yeah, guys, definitely. I can speak from a guy's perspective. We'll sit up here and say that we're not, but in the back of our heads, we like, damn, was he right? Like, was she a little off? Like, was he? But I don't think because sometimes on the opposite end of that, your friends may have an opinion on who you're dating, but then y'all go for the distance and everyone end up liking each other, and maybe it's just like a misunderstanding, or you know what I'm saying? Like, was she cool? Well, she turned out to be cool, you know what I'm saying? But you're right, it do definitely play a part.
Yeah, and it's becoming more of a part, because I know when I was dating, my boys would be like, you know, they might have a little something like, oh, more or less, hey, I know something about her, like blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I might say run a background. You know her, like, let me know if something's off, whatever. Did she date so and so? Let me know. But nowadays, like, it's like in the 90s, we used to have the stereotype, the homegirl, like, girl, he ain't this, he ain't that. And the dudes being like, nah, son, so and so smash, blah blah blah. And it's all lies, because they don't want you to leave. Because if you get a girl, that means less time with them. But nowadays, I think women and men, included millennial, that you guys are put a lot of currency into what your friends think about people you potentially date.
We put a lot of currency in people who don't even matter, let alone your friends. So yeah, that's definitely a big part of one of the problems, because it's all about, I know a lot of people that
for sure
gotta check the Carfax
for sure.
Trash.
That comment threw me off. Go ahead.
It's a joke.
So I do agree. I just feel like, well, I won't say taught to me, something that was always expressed to me, and I had to get out of that myself, was when I was dating early on, like college, my family would like, if my family didn't like the guy, then it was like, oh, this is a wrap. Like, this ain't gonna work. Because they must see something that I don't see, that's, you know what I'm saying, that I'm just not privy to. I'm not really on the same page with yet.
But the family thing, that's why I say love, because I equate love to I love my brother, I love my mother, I love my sister. Love for me means I'm going to love you when you make mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
A person like that, if they say to me like, "Hey, Lint, she ain't with it like that," I would take more credence to that than say a friend telling me that, because they may be jaded by their views on their dating. Whereas my family might look at it just like based on me and this person, they're going to be like, they have expectations. Like, we want someone to treat you like this. And they're looking at basically face value. We see this guy with you and he ain't doing what we feel he should be doing for you.
And I feel like obviously there's snakes in the grass all the time, but I feel like that's what my friends give as well, you know, because they see me in a different light. They see me, you know, in a different realm than my family. Mm-hmm. There's certain things you don't do in front of your family that your friends see you do, your homegirls, and you're like, well, I value their opinion as well, because I assume that their advice and their opinion is coming from a pure place. Like you said, obviously all the time it's not, but that's why I feel like you get that more so like, my friend has said this about him, let me kind of like keep an eye out.
Okay.
But I guess to say what Lingo was kind of saying, I'll flip it. There's been times where I have zero interest in a guy. And my friends are like, oh my God, like y'all be cute together. You don't like him, y'all should talk. And I'm like, I don't see it. And they keep saying it. And they'll be like, well, I guess I'll date him. Like, I don't really want to. But I mean, if you feel like this is a move, let me make it. So I feel like there's also.
And then here's your thing. You went right into dating. You went right into dating. And that's what my thing is. Millennials, you guys need to just, okay, you guys be cute together. Well, let's talk. Let's get to know each other before you jump into the dating. Like, oh, he likes me, we might be cute together. Let's go on a date. Because the dates to me are a romantic thing. So like, if I'm taking you out on a date, I am trying to impress you to go beyond this date. But if the date is the discovery period, like there's nowhere but down to me. Like there's nowhere to go. So and it's also expensive. I got to spend money on you. And then you tell me I ain't like you like that. Like, you know, you getting an invoice. Like, you know what I'm saying? We playing digitally and I'm paying for mine. Yeah.
So do you think that's why men don't like to pay for dates as much? Like millennial, like whatever, don't like to pay for dates as much? Because
Michael Lango, you speak on that.
Once again, I'm speaking for myself. It just depends on the guy. Because I was raised, you know, the courting process is very important.
Ooh, hold up. That man said courting.
I know he said courting.
He was raised right
with two parents.
You know what I'm saying?
Like
picket fence.
I have a parent that was a teacher in the military. It's like you come correct,
right?
But it just depends on the guy. That's what I believe.
What you, Lango?
Man, honestly, like paying for a date, that's not a big deal for me.
Okay.
It shouldn't be.
It should be.
No, because I'm gonna tell you this: like your first date. It's even like levels to dating. Like your first date, it may not be like the most priciest, expensive date. So I don't put any value on that, really, man. And I date a lot. So
okay. Well, hold that right there, Lango. Aatara, what Lango just said was, and that's first dates in his mind should be something more casual than formal. Your first date, and even your friend in the back. What are the standards for a first date? If a dude hits you up, you at Starbucks or whatever, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna get that venti for you." But if you get that venti for you, yo, put your number on my venti as well, and you be like, "All right, I'm gonna hit you up." What's your expectation? Like he hit you up, like, "What's up, ma? Yo, let's go get a little something." You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Ponce or whatever. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm gonna let her answer first because I had a conversation with my coworker and he made me feel like I was just different. So what do you?
Different.
I am. They asked for your opinion because I kept looking back at you, so they know.
You part of the show now.
You part of it
in
now.
the show now. Get in.
What you say?
Sway your answer. So keep your answer. I don't want to sway your answer. So for me, I don't say I don't care what the date is. I truly don't care what the date is. What I hate when I'm dating and I'm meeting new people is when the guy asks me to plan it. Nigga, you spending the money, you planning it. Like, how the hell am I going to plan a date that you got to spend money on?
I actually understand. I understand that. I
get that.
I get
It goes back to what I said in the beginning. Men put in the bare minimum effort. You know what I'm saying? It's just like females now have to do all the legwork. I got to plan the first date, but you spending the money. Like, do your part. Like,
Did I add on to that?
Go ahead.
The reason why is the phone stage is so important is because you want to feel that person out so we can plan the date.
Right.
That's why those conversations before a date is important, because
you find out what they
like Aatara said, I totally agree with you. If I'm gonna foot the bill, I'm gonna take you out, and hopefully it's a date that you like because of the conversations that we had. Like if you say, oh, I like this, that, and the third, I'm gonna try to plan something around that. So that's why I feel like those conversations need to be had instead of immediately just going out on a date. The dude take you somewhere that's trash, and then you're uncomfortable because this conversation is trash. Yeah. Then you just spent the whole evening on some trash shit. Now you just mad, and that's where the ghosts come from. You're so mad now you didn't ghosted his ass. You didn't his number. You didn't muted all the texts, and here we are.
But I don't have to. For me, I don't care what I will.
You do care though.
I'll go rock climbing on the first day. We can go to the lake on the first day. We can go to a movie.
But see, if you express that in the phone call,
we can grab ice cream at the park real quick and walk around. And just
but now the guy is throwing it in your court because, like Lango and I are saying, we never knew each other. So I don't want to plan a date and then I get off on the wrong foot with you because he technically doesn't know you. He just sees what he sees, and his mind is, I see Aatara. She's got on funky fresh jeans, some kind of vintage purse, blah blah blah. Wherever I take her, it's got to be top notch.
You know she was clean when he met her,
right? So she ain't gonna say, I ain't gonna be like, hey, let's go food truck, whatever. You might like that, but his mind thinking is, I gotta go all out. So I'm gonna let her. First of all, to impress her, I'm gonna be like, yo, you choose. Step back. And you be like, oh,
yeah, a lot of guys do that.
And then you be like, all right. So then he gonna be like, oh, she want to go to this place? All right, I got to get this paycheck right. But anyways, but then
I always throw a curveball. In my later years, I definitely started throwing curveballs.
Later years, girl, you just started life.
Right.
You gonna make an old person statement like that? My later years.
Shut up,
old soul, bro.
You ain't had one statement yet. You talking about your later years?
In my current years, whatever.
Okay, let's go with that.
I started throwing I'll throw out 3 different options. So it's like, oh, where do you want to go? It's just like, okay, well, these are 3 places that I don't mind going, and they're going to be different price ranges. So then you can choose because it's still your choice. We can do this, we can do this, we can do that. What do you want to do? Out of the things I told you that I don't mind doing, and then you can take more. You can take some of the control back that you, for whatever reason, gave me, and you can make that final say so.
Okay, but you're saying I gave you control. I didn't give you control.
You did.
No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, it doesn't exist because I, as a man, if I don't know what you want, I do this now. But
then that's also your problem because you jumped. Most of the time, guys are the one who are jumping into the dating. It's not me asking, yo, take me out. I'm not pressed. So if you hit my line like, yo, I'm going to take you out, where you want to go? Well, where do you want to go? You asked me to go out. Like, you should have an idea where you want to take me because you asked to take me somewhere. I'm not like, yo, take me on a date. That's not the energy I'm giving. You hit my line, said, yo, I want to take you out. So if you had the nerve and the whatever to text me saying you want to take me out, you should follow up with that. Hey, Aatara, are you free Friday? I want to take you X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
Like, if you want to step up to that plate, step all the way up to the plate.
And that's what we said. You got to talk first. But you're saying the guys aren't doing that.
They don't try. They don't even attempt to. So then I put it back in there. Well, I don't say control. I put the ball back in their court. Like, okay, these are just some options that I don't mind doing. You choose what's comfortable for you, what's comfortable for your wallet, what's comfortable for your activity level, whatever it may be. You make that final decision. The ball's back in your court because it should have always been in your court because you got to pay for it.
Why do I have to pay for it? But anyways, I'm going to ask your friend in the back. What was her thought?
Right. What's your thoughts?
Rachel, come here, Rachel. Come on to the camera. Come on. You ain't gonna be talking from the back.
Get in here, Rachel. Get in here.
Come on, Rachel.
She's watching it on her phone.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. What's your opinion?
I agree with Tara.
Shit.
I literally had this conversation with someone yesterday. Someone literally asked me to take me out tomorrow. So I'm going somewhere tomorrow. So it was back and forth. He was like, I asked him first, what do you want to do? And he was like, it doesn't matter. And he asked me what I want to do. And I gave him several different things.
Oh, you asked me what I want to do.
And I still don't even know what we're doing tomorrow.
Like, I promise you, like, I'm not making this up. Like, females live in a world of, you have to unfortunately take the reins in these relationships and these dating situations because men are just putting it back on your plate. Like, oh, you make the decision, you choose, you do this, you do that, and it's like, well, damn, why? And then when you're like, well, why are you here? Like, if I want to go to eat, I'm home, girl. Like, me and my girl can go out to eat. You want to go
and
here?
Y'all do, but y'all do.
Because it's just like, you're not doing anything. At this point, you're not doing anything out the normal. It's like, it's cool when I was in college, I'm 21, 22, 23, 24. Once I reached that 25, 27, you were like, look, I'm okay. Like, I don't need to go out. I'm not broke. I'm not pressed for the money. I'm not pressed for entertainment. I don't mind getting off of work and staying at my house with my glass of wine, watching Netflix. I don't need to hang out with you. If you don't have it together enough to be like, yo, I like you, I want to talk on the phone with you to get to know you, then from there, take the next step. Like, that's what I think a mature woman, a woman who vibrates on a higher frequency is looking for. Now, these other folks, I can't speak for them. But if you want something more, you're looking for a man who's stepping up to the plate and saying, yo, I like you. I want to get to know you. I want to take you out. This is what I want to do with you. And really just knows, like, they're certain. They have this confidence in themselves and what they want. A lot of men are lacking that. It's like we have to help them out and hold their hand and coddle them. And I don't want to coddle your feelings and coddle who you are. Know who you are. Know what you like. Know how you want to treat me. And then we can thrive. Bars. I think that's missing.
That girl got bars over there.
Drop the mic, Jill Scott. Relax.
Jill said Aatara Scott out here, boy. He's dropping bars out there. And that's great. And that was great. That's a great takeaway. So it's not that millennial women are just being hot girls and city girls running out here. You guys do want, but you want what has always been. But I think it's just because of the society we live in, it's hard to verbalize, even though we communicate so much more now than ever. For some reason, it's hard to verbalize and communicate that because the imagery out there is everybody. Like, I can speak, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for the young men who be like, what's your friend's name in the back?
Rachel.
So Rach, right? So pretend I'm a dude named, my name is Kurt, right? Okay. And Kurt meet Rach and he'd be like, yo, what's up, girl? How you doing? My name is boom, 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 boom. I'm Kurt. I do this, that, like, I'd like to take you out sometime, right? His fear is whatever I choose, I don't know, because he doesn't know you really. He's been conditioned. I got to take Rachel here. The best thing is let her pick the meal. That way she can't say, because this is what he's thinking. Let her pick the meal in the place we go, so she can't go back to her homegirls and be like, his broke ass took me to Sizzler. You know what I'm saying? His broke ass took me to Applebee's, and then we ordered 2 for $20. Like, he didn't even let me get my own meal. We shared.
Don't be knocking at 2 for $20, bro.
Yeah, we can't knock it. So I'm playing devil's advocate for the younger men. They're looking at it like I'm putting the ball in your court because woman empowerment and everything. I want to let you make the choices, boo. I don't want to dictate. I'm not going to mansplain and man choose for you.
I like that double advocate. I like that.
You see how you guys are working against each other now.
I do, and I have this conversation all the time when I'm dating because that is the thought process.
Yep.
So when I'm talking to someone, I'm like, yo, I don't mind being a partner. You know, if I come to you and say, yo, I want to go to Mexico, I'm not telling you I want to go to Mexico because I want you to buy your flight, my flight, the hotel, I'm telling you, like, yo, I want to go to Mexico and I want you to come with me. How can we make this happen?
Yep.
If you can pay for it all, then bet, go, let's do it. If you can't, okay, how are we going to make this happen? How can we make this happen? It's a partnership. And many times I have to reiterate that conversation when I'm talking to someone, like, I'm not asking you to do everything. I'm not asking you to pay for everything. If I'm telling you I want to do something, I don't mind chipping in. But so I agree with you that a lot of
you don't mind
are
chipping
conditioned
to
think,
you don't want to go half, but you're going to chip some in. Like,
well, I'll buy buy my plane ticket.
Uh-huh.
You buy yours. If
Mhm.
you need help with the hotel, then we'll split it halfway. If you do the hotel, I do the car rental. Like, yeah,
Okay.
like just figure
Okay,
out.
I just want to understand because
You know what I'm
shipping in
saying?
means like I'm gonna throw a couple dollars in there. Like,
No, like, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like, what are you comfortable with spending? Okay, we can't do Mexico. What can we afford? Like, having
What phase of the
conversation.
relationship this? What phase are we talking about here to where we taking trips together?
Well,
mhm.
this is like real relationship. This is no longer dating. I'm just saying.
Okay,
like,
okay, cool.
I'm just saying. I agree with him when
I'm
he's
gonna say,
playing
damn,
devil
first
advocate.
dates to Mexico? Where y'all
Oh,
living
we
at?
just trying now. No, I'm just saying I agree with him when he was playing devil advocate, saying that men don't want to. They don't want us to go back and be like, "Oh, this nigga's broke." You know what I'm saying? They don't want that
Right.
to be
Because that is a reality.
But
Because
that is.
you said previously, I value my homegirls' their advice and their opinion. So if you come back and say, "Oh, he took me to what's a mid-level restaurant?"
I thought you said Applebee's.
Okay, so we go to Applebee's, Chili's, right? And you come back and you say, "Rach." See, you can't even keep a straight face because you know you would say
They be
that.
doing that.
Right.
Because okay, so this is once again, I am
You
so,
can't have it both ways.
no, because I am so like I am particular and I am like so confident with who I am.
Every woman says that.
But let me finish. That's not fair. So
Okay, I'm
you
gonna
can
put you on
take me
you go
somewhere that has Applebee pricing. But
Uh-huh.
it don't gotta be Applebee's. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many small businesses and restaurants in Atlanta that you went to Applebee's.
Yeah.
That's basic. Take me somewhere else with the same prices that you can afford. But Applebee's? Come on, girl. We grown. Try something different.
Hey man, Applebee's, they never did
I
nothing
don't
wrong.
want to go there. That's it. I don't want to go there.
That's why he told you to choose, because women have these standards. Like, he's like, I damned if I do, damned if I don't. I take you to the small spot, you'd be like, I really prefer the Applebee's. You know, they got that 2 for $20. We could have took something home. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Whatever.
that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying the communication has to be there better. Like,
It does.
it
And
seems
that's
like
why I say I feel like
Well,
I
we
agree
all
with
can
how
agree that
Micah
it's
and
a
Lango
communication.
date when they really talk on the phone first. I think that from my perspective and like that's missing when I meet someone,
Mhm.
that's not the first thing on their plate. And I guess I never thought that I could make that a thing before I even go on a date. I never like just looked at it in that light. Like I can make sure, like, oh, before we do that, let's whatever. You know, it's really about holding everyone accountable. I never, I guess, held the woman accountable for letting the man know, like, let's take it slow. Let's see if I even want to hang out with you. He's
Right.
like, okay, cool, you want to take me? Let's go. So I will say, I will now think about that as well.
Okay, that's
So yeah,
great.
taught me
Yeah.
something.
So now you got to go back to the homegirl crew and be like, hey, girls,
Ladies,
let's talk to
listen
them
up.
before we date them, okay? Rachel, on 3.
Wait. But it
It's
depends
called
though.
caking for
If that's what they
a lost
want.
art.
If y'all want to just go out there and do your thing, then hey, continue doing what you're doing. But if you seriously trying to get to know somebody and date them, I say slow it up a little bit.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. The current trend that is for millennials, that's what a hot girl summer is, right? I'm just gonna go out,
It
have
all
some
comes
fun,
back around.
go on a date. See, boy, come on,
We
man,
good at this, man.
come on. So their in turn is the hot girl summer. That's what I perceive the hot girl summer is. I don't really want to get to know people. If I meet some cool people along the way. Oh, did she freeze up? Oh, we lost her for a little bit. Okay, you froze a little bit. Oh, there she is.
I lost all y'all. I'm losing everyone.
Yeah, like we can see you freezing, but it's all good. But like to me, it's like hot girl summer is the antithesis of what you're saying. Let's go on a date. I'm gonna meet you. It's just about free and clear. Let's just have some fun. But if you're literally seriously trying to date to find you someone, you have to put a little bit. There has to be some kind of pattern. Let's say some rules of engagement. And the first rule should be like, let me get to know you before I thrust myself and my energy into your presence. With my girl Rizzy, I had to use the word energy. See how I did it, Micah?
Call back. I know.
Call back, baby. You know what I'm saying? Before I put my energy out there for you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to get to know you. Let me know if this is worth my time going out. This is worth me getting some food with you, because just the fact that, you know, we have to be honest. There's a lot of lying ass men out there. So you go out on a date with mad dudes, boom, boom, just going on dates. But for you, it's just discovery. For them, it turns into you talk to the wrong one. Next minute, like, yeah, I went out with her, and then the rumors start. And you know it's unfair in this world, male-female dynamic. But I feel like from now on, I mean, in my opinion, you still got to get to know the person before we step to that go on a dates phase or stage, because that kind of lets you know where the relationship is going to go from the beginning. If I'm only going to get to know you on the first date, chances are we're not going to have much to discuss about. It's like 50-50. It's going to be no, yes. It's no like, hey, let's do this again. Let's see what else. You know what I'm saying? If you have a bad first date, it's over because you don't really know them. They might say something, or you find out a belief that they have is not one of yours. But you could have found that on the phone and been like, all right. And then you'd be like, you know what? Thank you. We could be friends. Dudes hate hearing that. And I'm sure you guys love saying that. So that's just my opinion when it comes to things. Like maybe talk first before we go approach for love. You know what I'm saying? Can I get an agreement on that? Like,
I agree. I definitely agree. If you're looking for something serious and you're looking, to, I guess, date one person and grow, then I definitely say that is some advice you should take. But if you're not looking for that, then no, don't take that advice.
Wow.
If you want to just hang out and go on dates, then what's the point?
And I think to me that's because of like shows like Sex and the City and all those, like they show it romanticized dating where people were just running from cool restaurant to cool restaurant. Maybe I'm showing my age, but it became a, like every TV show, like they were going on dates. You never heard that they spoke to this person. It was like, oh, they ran into him in this episode, and next thing you know, on a Saturday night they're going out to this fancy dinner. And regardless how silly it may seem, a lot of people are influenced by that. Like if your dating advice comes from what you see and what you hear, it's most likely you're gonna keep doing the same thing, repeating the same cycle and having the same bad habits. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I was better or my generation was any better. We were worse. You know what I'm saying? Like we took, like, honestly, like it was a badge of honor to go on a date, and your first date. I don't know how millennial men perceive, but if you could smash on your first date, that's what you were trying to do.
Ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing changed? Okay.
Nah, it's still some of that out here. It's still
because that was the badge of honor, and that's when a lot of
that's probably why dudes want to take you out so quick too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Look, if you're gonna go out on a date with me, as these young men have been conditioned, like if you're putting out money, boom, 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 you're probably supposed to get something. If it be a kiss, a hug, another date, another chance to link up, you're supposed to get the keys to the barn, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go on this date with me and you like it, that means you like me. And where do we go from here? What's next? You know what I'm saying? So I apologize from my generation to yours for messing up these young boys like that. Like I'm sorry we did that. We got around, but sometimes we just got to stop that crap.
But just to piggyback, it just, like I said before, it comes down to the young man. So it just comes down to him.
So our takeaways from today are, first of all, young women have to start using phones more, not just text and take selfies, right?
So likes on Instagram.
And likes on Instagram. We're going to use the same number that we're texting with to actually get to know the young man. Okay. And for the young men, we too have to turn around and say, hey, we, like you said, take charge. I want you to have an idea. But in turn, you too have to talk to this young woman before you go out on a date with her to get to know her, having some semblance of who she is. Therefore, you can plan a proper date to get to know that young woman. Can we agree on that, Aatara?
We agree on that. You agree?
With that. What does Rachel have?
She agrees. She agrees.
So the biggest thing that we've learned is the most important thing is communication.
Communication.
Let's get to know each other before we go out there and hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
I never realized the importance of the talking stage until this conversation. So this conversation alone has opened my eyes. That sounds so bad. But this conversation has, like, for me, talking and dating was the same thing because it was the same thing. Like my first date with you is me talking to you.
No, like dating, like
how important talking, and I'm talking to this person, what that really means. What that actually means. And so I really I value this conversation because
in my time, you were talking to a girl, literally meant when I was in high school, oh yeah, I'm talking to Shorty. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, that means meeting her at the locker. Maybe we talk to each other at lunch. After lunch or after school, we might walk to the bus stop. That's like literally talking to her to get to know her. To the point where she finally gets comfortable enough, like, yes. And then she's waiting for you to either ask her to the homecoming dance, or ask her out to the movies on Friday night, because You know what I'm saying? That's one of the only times.
Y'all had the
We didn't have
little
Netflix.
note, right, Linton? Y'all had to check yes or no.
Yes, literally,
y'all
you had to do that, or you had
Now,
to
what
get with
you
her
know
Yeah,
about
homegirl.
this,
that's a
though?
thing.
Hey,
Or
what
you
you
get with
know?
her homegirl. If you knew a homegirl, you'd be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about asking her. You think she'd say yes? You think she'd be open to it? You getting all your reconnaissance done to get this
The work.
to
See,
get this just to get this yes to go on a date. It was no longer like, hey, go on a date with me, and you look at him like, yeah, you're cute. Okay, I don't know you, but let's go on a date. Like that's dangerous. You know what I'm
yeah, that's
saying?
creepy.
That's creepy. Now
That's
that's creepy.
That's creepy.
Not, you know what I'm saying? We gotta change we gotta swing the pendulum. Like talking on the phone is not creepy. Getting to know
Yeah.
someone or going out on a date without someone you don't know, that is creepy and sketchy.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy.
Well, tell me something. Like I'm not. I am. I never mind admitting when like I learned something and I gained a new insight and perspective on something. So I definitely
Well, appreciate
got
you
something
on
from
that.
this.
All right. So it was great conversation, Tara. We're gonna have to do this again.
Sure.
Maybe one time we might jump on the Tarascope. Like you never know.
Crossover.
I love it. I would love
Let's
it.
get a little crossover. We go say bars. You know what I'm saying? So before we go, I'd like Aatara, just give a moment. You know what I'm saying? Thank you again for doing the podcast with us today and joining us. It's a good conversation. Like just like that, almost 2 hours have gone by.
I know.
We've gotten to the root of solving dating in the millennial era. Communication, people. Let's just talk to each other, get to know each other before we waste money on dates and waste each other's time. And that love does not happen in a year. That's all. But Aatara, tell us about the Tarascope podcast and where we can find it and when is it on?
Oh goodness, that's a lot right there.
Uh-huh.
So my old episodes are, like you said, on every platform. Apple Podcast, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, if that's like your thing, I don't know. Then you can go directly to my website that he showed at the beginning, which is just tarascope.com. It has every single episode. It has a cute little about me and all that good jazz.
Mm-hmm.
As for up and coming episodes, I'm not quite sure yet. I might join like this podcast network and revamp kind of some things and work on the technical side, because this streaming and all of that and that is not my forte. I am a talker. I am a creative, but the tech part is a world that's outside of my own.
Me and Michael
on that part. But if you follow me on Instagram, which is Tarascope_, then when it is time for that to come out, then you will be automatically notified.
That is pretty dope. Yeah. Definitely go check out her past episodes. They're very intriguing. Did you have video as well? I used to remember seeing some video clips. You didn't do the whole thing.
No, I didn't do video like that I put out like on YouTube or anything. They're just like clips for
clips. I remember that. I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, you got about, I want to say like 3
episodes.
Yeah, 3 seasons, 40-something episodes. That's real dope.
So yeah.
All
they'll
right.
make you laugh. They'll make you think. They'll make you think.
And that's where I got a lot of my. And that's where I got a lot of my topics. Like I went through your catalog and I was looking at the certain topics and I was like, oh, let's go through this. But so everybody check her out, Tarascope.com and Tarascope_ on IG. And also DC the Misfit, let people know where they can find you in the social media.
Instagram, Twitter _1LDC. One half of the Super Weapon podcast. We talk about video games, gaming culture, and stuff of that nature. And we are also on all DSPs, Apple, Google, wherever you want to listen to your podcast.
DSP? What's the DSP?
Find us there.
I see Aatara looking. What's a DSP? Aatara looking like DSP.
Bro, digital service provider, baby. And
What's
I
that?
just want to say, I just want to give a shout out to Aatara. I remember when she first started her podcast.
Yep.
We were still in the stages of thinking about one. We just didn't know what we wanted to do. So it was also inspirational for us to see someone we know personally jump into that water, because we didn't know anything either. So like we kind of just got a mic and jumped on and did our thing. So, I've always been watching you like in the background. We might communicate a little bit. I'd poke fun at her or whatever, but
always,
I'm glad to see you out there doing your thing, man. It's good to have, your peer group, into the things that you're in, because it helps motivate me to tighten up on what I'm doing. So shout out to you. Thanks, Linton and Micah, for having me again. Appreciate you guys. And I had fun with this conversation, man. I learned some things, so hopefully I won't be single for too long. I'm going to try some things.
Hang in there, brother.
Hang in there, brother. Be strong.
Don't take them to Applebee's and you'll be good.
Yeah.
Well, someone might like Applebee's, so I can't speak for them. But like he said, talk to them first, and then you'll find out if they like it.
Some of them might like Applebee's. So if you want to deal with them, not they, but them,
Yeah.
they like SDK.
It did come off like that. Oh, geez.
Yes, it did.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty dope, man. Appreciate
all DSPs. Thank you.
Shout out to Darius Johnson, the other half of the Super Weapon Podcast. Definitely check them out. Mike, any shout outs before we head out?
No, none come to mind right now. I'm just happy I learned what Hot Girl Summer is finally. Because everything makes sense now.
Everything makes sense. A Hot Girl Summer makes sense.
We ain't gonna be single for long.
Yeah,
I know what
I guess hope.
There's hope. There's hope out there for y'all.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the Inside Out Podcast. You can check us out on IG at the Inside Out Podcast, Inside_Out Podcast. Also, check us out on Twitter, L Felix Media, and on Facebook, the Inside Out Podcast. And we also stream on Twitch under L Felix Media. I don't like Twitch that much. Somebody tried to send one of those hate streams to me, Lango. One time we broadcast.
Yeah. Darius was telling me they tried to hate raid you.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's still a thing. It's still happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had to dead that real quick. Like, nah, B, you ain't gonna do that to me. I ain't the one. I don't do that stuff. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today, especially our guest Aatara Johnson, aka the Tarascope, doing a phenomenal work out there. Continuing blessing. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Full disclosure again, we know Tara, but it's to see your growth. It's amazing. I applaud you for all the things you're doing. Continued blessings and continued success. Super Weapon Podcast. Check them out. Check out Mike and myself next Saturday. We're going to be putting our promo who we have as a guest next week. And also we'll do a restream of this probably tomorrow around maybe 6, 7 p.m. You'll see the info coming out. So I want to thank everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.